My dear child, there is someone out there carrying a quiet heaviness because you are no longer part of their everyday life. That pain they feel is real and it runs deep. Before anything else, pause with me for a moment. Take a slow breath in, let it fill you, and then release it. We're about to step into a part of your mind that may have been closed off for some time. It's a place where every memory of them still lives, where shared laughter, small habits, and intimate moments remain untouched. Maybe it's the sound of a laugh you haven't heard in ages, or the image of an ordinary object that somehow meant everything to the two of you. Could even be the replay of your last conversation, one that sneaks into your thoughts late at night when everything else is quiet. I'm not here to judge or assign blame. This isn't about who was right or wrong. It's about recognizing what happens in those silent spaces, when distractions fade and reality settles in. Somewhere, there is a person learning how to exist with an ache that doesn't announce itself loudly. This is someone who once loved you with their whole heart, or perhaps someone who loved you quietly, never quite finding the courage or words to say it out loud. However that love was shown, it has now turned into a very specific kind of hurt, one that revolves entirely around you. This kind of pain doesn't look like it does in movies. It isn't always dramatic or tearful. More often, it's subtle and persistent. It hums beneath the surface, following them through normal days and familiar routines. It shows up at unexpected moments during times you used to talk, or when they come across something that would have made you laugh and realize there's no one to send it to anymore. The questions they never got answers to keep stacking up in their mind, lingering like unopened letters that refuse to go away. We tend to believe that real pain must be loud, but that isn't true. Some of the deepest suffering is quiet and controlled. It becomes part of their daily rhythm, a way of moving through life that feels mechanical and numb. To others, they may seem distant or unaffected, as if they've moved on without a care. But that calm exterior is only a shield. Beneath it is a heart still exposed and tender, struggling to understand how to feel whole again without the person they once relied on completely. There are many reasons behind this pain, and all of them are deeply human. One of the hardest parts is the collapse of what they thought the future would be. Love isn't just about feelings. It's about building a shared vision of tomorrow. Every message, every small habit, every plan made together was a piece of that imagined life. When the relationship changes or ends, it isn't only the person they lose. It's the future they had already lived through in their mind. The human mind struggles with unanswered questions. It searches endlessly for meaning, especially when things end without clarity. When communication stops or distance grows, their thoughts begin to spiral. They replay moments, analyze words, and ask themselves again and again what went wrong. They wonder if they made mistakes or if they simply weren't enough to make you stay. Carrying that constant self-doubt is exhausting. Guilt adds another layer to this weight. It's an emotion that can live in both hearts at the same time. They may feel responsible for the loss, or they may feel hurt and resentful, believing they were let down. Either way, that guilt settles heavily in their chest, making it feel as though breathing deeply is no longer effortless. Sometimes this pain doesn't look like sadness at all. Instead, it shows itself as anger. Anger is easier to hold than vulnerability. Sarcasm, distance, or coldness can feel safer than admitting they still care. Loving you might feel like leaving themselves unprotected, so they guard their heart the only way they know how. Even if the separation happened gradually, the reality of being apart often hits suddenly. It's like a sharp drop that takes time for the body and mind to adjust to. To the outside world, they may appear fine, steady, and unaffected. But there are moments you never see, moments when the weight becomes too much and they quietly fall apart on their own. Sometimes you can see it in the small things, like how they linger on your social media posts just a few seconds longer than they should, or how they remember tiny details about your life that even you've forgotten. They may start keeping things that seem completely useless to anyone else, like a receipt from a meal you once shared, a screenshot of an old message, or a blurry photo that means nothing to the outside world. To them, those items aren't trash. They're lifelines, little anchors that stop them from drifting too far away from what they once had. You might notice them acting more impulsively, sending a message in the middle of the night or showing up somewhere they know you might be. A song comes on the radio that reminds them of you, and suddenly it defines their entire day, beginning and ending with the memory of your face. I want you to think for a moment and tell me, have you ever felt that quiet heaviness in your chest, knowing there were things you wanted to say but the silence felt safer than speaking? Around you, their words might become short or guarded because they're afraid of what might spill out if they let themselves talk too freely. Sometimes they avoid being in the same room as you, and other times they stay far too long, staring off into nothing because they don't know how to leave. Some people hide behind humor, joking more often or more sharply than they used to, using laughter as a way to survive a broken heart while making it look like everything is fine. Just because they appear to be functioning doesn't mean the pain isn't intense beneath the surface. Inside their mind, there's a constant loop playing over and over, filled with what-ifs and almost. If only I had said that differently, maybe I should have called, maybe I should never call again. They wonder if they missed a sign or if you ever think about them at all. They replay moments from your shared past that might seem insignificant to anyone else but feel massive to them because those moments carried all their hope. They search endlessly for meaning, reading too deeply into neutral words and building entire stories out of a single glance. Think about the invisible conversations that never stop inside the mind of someone who is hurting because of you. If you could listen to their inner thoughts, you would hear the same questions repeating endlessly, keeping them awake while the rest of the world sleeps. They go back and forth between wanting to reach out and wanting to disappear completely, stuck in a place where every choice feels wrong. They analyze the smallest details most people would never notice, turning brief encounters and simple messages into emotional landmarks. They become detectives, searching for proof that they still matter to you, assigning weight to a look that lasted a moment too long or a word that felt slightly colder than usual. They build entire narratives from these fragments, hoping to find a way back to a time when things made sense. You might wonder why they keep all of this inside, why they don't just say how they feel. The truth is, their silence takes a strange kind of courage, but it's also rooted in fear. They're afraid of seeming weak, of losing the last bit of dignity they believe they have. They don't want to look desperate, and they don't want to burden you with their pain or make you feel responsible for it. Sometimes they stay quiet because it feels like the only way to protect themselves from being hurt again. The quietest people often carry the heaviest weight, holding everything in because they believe the world expects them to move on. And even when someone tries hard to hide their pain, it always finds a way to show itself. If you look closely, with patience and compassion, you'll notice the patterns. Pain doesn't always look like tears. Sometimes it shows up as a subtle shift in how someone moves through their day. They may start avoiding places that once belonged to the two of you, or they may do the opposite and return to them again and again as if they are searching for something that is no longer there. You might notice changes in their routine that don't fully add up. They could stay at work far later than usual just to avoid going back to a silent home, or their sleep might become restless and irregular. Sometimes they throw themselves into social plans with an energy that feels forced, and other times they vanish from social life altogether. One of the quietest and most heartbreaking signs of a wounded heart is when someone begins doing small, gentle acts of kindness for others. They may help strangers or show up deeply for friends, not because they feel strong, but because easing someone else's pain helps soften their own. It's their way of reminding themselves that they still matter, even if they feel they've lost the person who once made them feel most valued. Their emotions can shift suddenly, with moments of light followed by unexpected heaviness without any obvious reason. These signs alone don't prove what they're feeling, but when you look at them through the lens of your shared past, it becomes clear that something remains unresolved beneath the surface. There is meaning in everything they are not saying. When the silence between you feels heavy, it's because it's filled with all the words they wish they could say but don't know how to. Deep down, they want you to know they haven't forgotten the little things. They still remember the way you laughed at jokes no one else understood, the sound of your footsteps, and the quiet language only the two of you shared. Often, they carry disappointment, not necessarily toward you, but toward how the story unfolded. They mourn no longer being part of your everyday life, no longer being the person you turn to when something good or bad happened. There is also a private layer of regret and shame they carry, apologies they wish they could offer but feel have come too late. They may believe they hold words that could change everything, yet they keep them buried because the fear of rejection feels unbearable. One of the most painful thoughts they wrestle with is wishing they had been exactly who you needed at that time. That wish cuts deeply because it points to a future that can never exist. In this state, they are grieving a life that never came to be, a life they imagined with you. It's like standing inside a house that was never finished, seeing where the rooms should have been and where the light would have fallen, but realizing the roof is missing and the cold air keeps getting in. They are trying to learn how to feel whole again, but the plan they once relied on no longer works, and starting over feels overwhelming. They are also learning how to live with distance, with the shock of realizing that the person who was once closest to them now feels like a stranger. That realization doesn't fade quickly. It settles deep and makes everything feel heavier. Even if they smile and move forward, they carry a quiet brokenness that looks like normal life to everyone else. They've learned how to say, "I'm fine," and play the role, even though the intensity inside hasn't softened. What's important to understand is that they are protecting themselves. Admitting they still care or still hurt or still miss you feels like losing the last bit of armor they have left. Being vulnerable after everything feels like standing unprotected in a storm. So they stay behind their walls, replaying moments that seemed insignificant to others but meant everything to them, waiting and hoping for some sign that they haven't been completely forgotten. When someone else's peace is resting in your hands, it's natural to feel unsure about what the right thing to do actually is. You might feel torn between going back, offering comfort, or finally drawing a healthy boundary. How you respond matters more than you may realize. You always have a choice in how you communicate, and one of the most compassionate things you can give another person is clarity instead of confusion. When we don't fully understand our own emotions, we often leave doors half open and send mixed signals. This keeps the other person stuck in a painful state of hope and uncertainty, and over time that kind of ambiguity quietly poisons a relationship. If you need space, saying so clearly and gently is an act of kindness. If you are open to talking, then open that door in a way that feels safe and grounded. Being direct allows the other person to stop guessing and begin accepting the reality in front of them. It's very common to want to fix someone's sadness, especially when you feel responsible for it, but you don't always have to be the solution to their pain. Sometimes the most meaningful thing you can do is simply acknowledge what they're feeling without trying to make it go away. Simple words like, "I hear you," or "I'm really sorry you're hurting," can be incredibly comforting. They validate the experience without making promises you may not be able to keep. Honesty, when handled with care, works like medicine. Delivered with tenderness, it can heal even deep emotional wounds. But honesty given without empathy or delivered harshly only causes more harm. You can be truthful and firm about your needs or boundaries while still being gentle in how you express them. That balance is what allows people to move forward, whether they continue together or go their separate ways. Time is often misunderstood as emptiness or absence, but it's actually a period of change. Both of you may need time to become the versions of yourselves who can handle whatever comes next. Healing is never a straight path, and it has its own rhythm. Trying to rush it is like forcing a flower to bloom before it's ready, and that usually damages the very thing you're trying to nurture. If your heart is pulling you back toward this person, know that this longing is completely human. But a healthy reconnection takes honesty and self-reflection. It can't be driven only by missing the comfort of what once was. It has to be about creating something stronger and more stable than before. A meaningful return begins with taking responsibility for your part in the breakdown. Acknowledging mistakes without excuses shows growth and self-awareness. Grand gestures may look impressive, but they often fail because they aren't sustainable. Real trust is rebuilt through small, consistent changes over time. Reconnection also requires patient listening. You must be willing to hear their pain and perspective without immediately defending yourself or redirecting the conversation. Let their words exist without interruption. That space is where people begin to feel truly seen and where real healing can start. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are structures that help both people feel safe. Setting boundaries is an act of care because it defines what is acceptable and prevents old patterns from repeating. Without them, it's easy to fall back into the same cycles that caused the pain in the first place. Be mindful of what doesn't help as well. Forcing immediate closure just to escape discomfort often backfires. If either of you isn't ready, rushing resolution can reopen wounds that were just beginning to heal. Public displays meant to provoke an emotional response can feel manipulative and place unfair pressure on someone who is already struggling. Equally harmful is saying all the right things without changing your behavior. When words don't match actions, trust erodes. Trust is built through what you do consistently, not what you promise. Sometimes the healthiest path forward doesn't lead back to the other person at all. If you decide to step away permanently, understand that seeking closure is an act of self-respect. You can end a chapter with compassion while still choosing yourself. Closure isn't something another person gives you. It's something you create. Writing down everything you can't say out loud can be incredibly powerful. Put your anger, love, regret, and hope onto paper. You don't have to send it. The release comes from expressing it, not from being heard. It helps you see the situation as it truly is instead of how you wished it could be. If no contact is what you need to heal, communicate that boundary clearly and kindly, then honor it. Small rituals can also help mark this transition. Whether it's a long walk, a quiet moment of letting go, or a personal symbol of closure, these actions help your mind and heart move from the past into the future. And finally, remember that forgiveness is for you. You don't forgive because what happened was acceptable, and you don't even need to announce it. You forgive so you can release the weight you've been carrying. It's the moment you set down the heavy stone of resentment and step into your next chapter with lighter, open hands. My child, healing almost never moves in a neat, straight line from hurt to peace. It usually sways and stumbles, sometimes feeling steady and other times feeling like you've slipped back into old pain. One day can feel like real progress, and the next can feel like you've lost ground. That back and forth is a normal part of healing, for you and for the person who is hurting. For them, recovery takes time, patience, and space to feel what they need to feel. If it's possible, you might softly encourage them to consider therapy, because some emotions are simply too heavy to carry alone. It can also help to remind them to notice small moments of happiness and to lean on the friends who truly show up for them. When someone is grieving a deep loss, their anger is often just love that has nowhere to go yet. It's a way their heart tries to survive the intensity of what it's holding. At the same time, you need to be very gentle with yourself. Losing a person or a bond is still grief, even if you were the one who chose to leave. Your emotions will rise and fall, and that's okay. Try to speak to yourself with the same compassion you would give someone you love. Find new routines and steady rhythms that keep you rooted in the present. Even if your paths never cross again, it's possible to move forward without carrying bitterness. You don't have to trample the past to leave it behind. Kindness allows both people to find their way back to themselves. What you shared was real, even if its season has ended. Now I'd like to invite you into a quiet moment of reflection. Something you can do now or whenever the weight of this connection feels heavy. If you're somewhere safe, close your eyes and take slow, steady breaths. Let each inhale and exhale calm your body. Imagine a room filled with warm, gentle light. It isn't perfect or polished. It feels lived in and familiar. Maybe it's a small kitchen with sunlight on the table or a soft couch with a blanket tossed over the back. Picture that person sitting there with you. Look at them without judgment. Notice how they hold their hands or how their shoulders might be tense, as if they're carrying more than they can say. In this quiet space, offer them one honest sentence that carries no blame. It might be something like, "I can see that you're hurting," or "I'm sorry for my role in what happened," or even simply, "I hear you." Watch how they respond in your mind. If they receive your words, imagine sitting with them in that warm light for a moment, just breathing together. If they turn away or seem closed off, imagine placing your words gently on the table between you. You don't need to force them to take them. They can pick them up when they're ready. When you feel a sense of release, open your eyes and try to hold on to that calm, like a smooth stone you keep in your pocket. Sometimes you may feel the urge to reach out in real life and struggle to find words that feel safe and respectful. If you want to send a message that's soft and low pressure, you could say something like, "I've been thinking about you." There's no need to reply. "I just wanted you to know you're on my mind." This lets them know they mattered without asking them to carry the weight of responding. If you feel regret and want to apologize, you might say, "I'm sorry for the ways I hurt you. I'd like to understand your side whenever you're ready." That shows openness and respect for their experience. If you want to leave the door open without pushing, you could say, "I know this has been painful for both of us. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. If not, I respect your space." There are also moments when reaching out is about your own closure. In that case, you might say, "For my healing, I need to take some space right now. I truly wish you peace and happiness." And if you've decided it's time to move on completely, you might say, "I'm choosing to step away now, but I hope you find everything you're looking for." These words are simply tools to help your actions match your intentions with care and clarity. When we tend to pain with patience, it often becomes a powerful teacher. It humbles us and teaches us how to listen, not just to words but to silence. It shows us that trust is built through small, consistent acts rather than grand gestures. Sometimes people grow apart so they can become kinder and wiser versions of themselves, versions they might not have reached if they had stayed together. Other times, after space and growth, two people find their way back to each other as changed individuals. Both paths are deeply human, and neither is wrong as long as you move with honesty and intention. If someone is hurting because of you right now, it means what you shared mattered. Your presence left a mark, and that deserves respect. You have every right to protect your heart. You are allowed to ask for respect, to admit your mistakes, to walk away, or to stay and try again if you believe there's something worth rebuilding. Whatever you choose, be kind to yourself along the way. If these words helped lift even a small weight from your chest, then this moment mattered. If they stirred something tender or difficult, please give yourself time and gentleness as you sit with it. Healing is slow, but it is the most meaningful work you will ever do. Thank you for having the courage to look honestly at your heart. And if this message brought you comfort, consider sharing it with someone who might need it today.